All right, all right, all right, all right. Hello, my shining, radiant friends. How are you? I'm so pumped because why? Because it's Thursday. I'm pumped every day. At least I try my best to not take for granted not one single day. I can't even believe it's May 6th already. What? Where is the time going? OMG. But yes, I love Thursdays. This is, I don't know, a couple months now. Every Thursday, 5 o'clock, I've been here for some radiant rap. And I'm just going to, you know, share just a little bit. That's what I do with the Radiant Rap. And for those of you that don't know, well, you see my name right there, I think. Shannon, I'm Shannon, and radiant, the reason I use that term radiant, well, the R is for rest because it's so important and very underrated. The A is for activity awareness. I talk about that sometimes, just being aware of what it is that we're doing when we're doing what we're doing is very important. Of course, diet is important. Introspection, just taking the time to think about what it is that we're doing, to pray about what it is, to woosah and breathe, do some meditation, all seriously important. A, agua, important. Note taking, noting, important. Journaling, writing things down. I shouldn't just skip over the hydration because that's really important. The noting, and then training, doing some movement. Those are the three things. All of those radiant things help us to shine as we were all meant to. And they all can go under three main categories: meals, movement, mindset. And that is what I am really passionate about doing. And I just come here to share a little nugget or two. Today, I want to talk about vulnerability. And I want to ask you, what do you think? Do you think it's healthy or unhealthy to be vulnerable? That's my question. So whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it on the replay, my question to you is, do you think it's healthy or unhealthy to be vulnerable? Just sharing my thoughts. Now listen, according to one definition in the dictionary, it says vulnerability is the quality of or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. Yeah, thank you, Sissy. Healthy. Dawn says she believes that it is healthy to be vulnerable. Now, if you look at that definition, because I looked it up, the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. That is the definition that is in the dictionary on being vulnerable. And yes, there is a possibility that when you are vulnerable, you can expose yourself to being hurt or harmed in some way, physically or mentally or emotionally. Is it healthy to be? Dawn says she believes it's healthy to be vulnerable. What do you say? Well, that's a meaning, sissy. Never knew what it really meant to be. But if we look at, because I agree with you, if we look at it a different way, because yes, it is a risk to be vulnerable. Think about it. When you are vulnerable, you're open. So you absolutely when you got hurt in a relationship or at your job or with your finances, it could be because you, more than likely, yeah, now you're torn. You were being vulnerable, right? So you want to protect yourself. Okay, so here's the thing, and we should biologically, we were designed with a system that kicks in, it's just automatically will kick in when we are in danger. It's called that fight or flight system. Okay, we will either flee, right, or be prepared to fight when that kicks in. And it doesn't matter. It's just something that is innate. It's an animalistic kind of thing that we all have. So if you look at I love watching like Animal Planet and Discovery Channel and stuff like that. Well, if you ever look at those, my grandma used to watch constantly. She was always watching those channels. She loved them. Well, if you ever watch a lion prey on like an antelope, right? And he's preying on the antelope, and all of a sudden, say the antelope is grazing, right? So at that moment, he doesn't know he's being preyed upon, right? He's vulnerable. Then he hears something. He looks up. Things start to happen physiologically. His eyes dilate. The blood starts to flow to his extremities, okay? His heart rate starts to increase. All of this happens automatically. So why? In this case, he's not going to try to fight the lion, okay? He's going to take off. So it is the same with us when we have a situation where we need to escape. That is not a bad thing in itself. And it could be as simple as, okay, you're at the corner of a street light, stopped at the corner, you're on foot, and a car you're at the corner, the car is making a sharp turn, not really paying attention, right? And there's a big puddle out there in front of you at that corner. And if you don't jump back, it's going to splash you, that big puddle. So you jump back. That's instinctively, you jump back to get out of the way. You don't want to get wet, okay? All right, you don't want to be vulnerable to getting soaked with dirty water, all right? So that's not a bad thing. Here's the challenge. In our world today, in our society today, many of us are in a ready state, fight or flight, most of the time, most of the day. We're so guarded. We want to be in control. We don't want to, if something happens, we need to be on the ready, right? If we're in a relationship and he tries to dog me, I need to be on the ready. If they try to steal from me, if they try to attack me, I need to be on the ready. And it's gotten to a point where it's habit for us to be in a heightened state of alarm most of the day. And like I said, physiologically, things happen in our body when we're in that state. So even if we're going to open our emails, you know it's going to be 100 emails there. The heart rate starts to increase, the eyes dilate, and you're ready to fight, or flee, one or the other, right? Releasing those toxins, it causes a release of toxins in our body. And if it's in a situation where we need to run from the lion or the bear, right? Or we need to fight the attacker, that comes, coming after us. That's what it's designed to do. It's supposed to do that. But if we're at a point where that's what we're doing in and out every day, all day, from the time our eyes open, oh my God, I got to go to work. I have to deal with this person. I can't stand this situation. I'm in this. I'm worried about my doctor's appointment. And all of this is going through our head all day. I can't be vulnerable. I don't want someone to see me. Like here, me being in front of you right now, totally being vulnerable. We'd rather wear the mask, right? So that we're seen as tough, so that we're seen as perfect. Every hair in place, the makeup is done just right. And, we have to have it all together. No one can see that we don't have it all together. That we don't, that we're sometimes weak. And I meant to say this. So yesterday I was talking to Fear and Faith Don't Go Together. Okay, talk about it, sissy. Talk about it. Fear and faith. That's right. They don't go together. And yesterday let me pull up my notes from yesterday. I was talking to one of my clients, right? And I was telling the women in my group, the Shine Radiant group. You can ask to join. We're in there doing tips and just hanging out with each other. I'm in there live like several times a week. Oh man, I gotta find it. So she said, come on, Shay. She said, really want to find it. It was so super good. All right. So if I find it, I'll share it with you. If I don't find it, oh, wait, am I too far back? Am I not far back enough? She said, I used to be so hard, like all her life till recently. She was so hard, right? That it kind of scared her because she was wondering if she had emotions. Like, she was that kind, she just nothing would faze her, right? But she said over the last several months, because COVID and all this pandemic stuff has changed a lot of, how we might analyze things, it's given us an opportunity, if we're taking it, to just reevaluate some things, right? Or look at some things differently. And she says, I don't know. I was just feeling more vulnerable, which is what made me want to talk about this today. And I just felt a little out of control with my emotions. I would, just bust out crying. And I said to her, I said, so do you feel like that was a good thing or a bad thing? What do you all think? I asked her, do you think it was a good thing or a bad thing? And what she said, I thought this was so profound. She said, it doesn't really upset me. She said that I'm responding in that way. She says, because I'm allowing myself to be in the moment and process through it. Wow. And I told her, I said, I got to write that down. I said, I have to write. That's so good. I'm allowing myself to be in the moment and process through it. Because what will tend to happen is we'll just, like I said, wear the mask and forget about it, put it on the back burner, not deal with it. And then 20 years later, we got all this crap, or we're dealing with some illness because we just absorbed all of that crap. Am I making sense? Does that make sense to you? Right? We do it. We do it as men. We do it as women. Black women for sure. Because, we're just supposed to, women, mamas, we're supposed to just have it all together, be able to throw on the cape and do it all, and not be not be upset. Have it together, especially and especially women that I work with, women that I don't know, I'm drawn to because they're professional women. So they're in the workplace, right? And definitely don't want to seem emotional in that place, right? You might just get your head chopped off. It's a doggy dog world, and there are situations where we're not able to, in that moment, be vulnerable. But we need to have safe places where we feel that we can. And this is why, and I'm out of your way. Just want to share a couple of reasons why, and then I'm out of your way. Because when we are vulnerable, okay, first of all, it takes off the mask. We can build trust and intimacy in our relationships. Yes, it also puts you at risk of being hurt. But if you don't have that risk factor there, it is impossible to really have an intimate relationship. If you're not vulnerable, then how can you build trust? How can you build intimacy? So being vulnerable will, let you off the hook. You don't have to be perfect, right? It also allows you to have empathy and understanding. When we're so hard, we don't care. It's all about me. It's all about me, and I don't have to worry about anybody else. Well, it's going to be a hard time making the world a better place if we don't have intimacy, if we don't have empathy, and we don't have understanding. And then lastly, if we're not vulnerable, we can't change because we won't be open to possibilities, to new possibilities. So it's important for us to have that fight or flight, to have that part of us, but not 24/7. It will make you sick. You cannot be creative if you're not vulnerable. That's not the part of you that once you're in that state, if you're fighting or flighting, trying to run, you don't have time to be creative. You don't have time to be loving. That's a whole different energy, okay? Once you're in that zone of just protecting yourself from being hurt or harmed, you cannot have joy. You cannot. And so if we are really believing, trusting, having faith, loving it, if we open to the possibilities of what life has for us, it takes a level of vulnerability. It takes risk to be in a state of meditation. You have to be open. So I'm encouraging you, for those of you that are feeling like, I can't be in a relationship because all men are dogs, all girls are, all women are fill in the blank. Even with one more, because I wanted to make sure I say this. Even if you have small children or small, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, we can't just be the parent, the adult. They need to see us weak sometimes. They need to see us, first of all, because when we're being vulnerable with them, then we're being loving, but in a way that they can understand it. Hey, sweetheart, how are you, Miss Cheryl Lee? In a way that children can understand. If we're sad, they can know that we're sad. Mommy's sad right now. So that we're not teaching them that they have to just swallow their feelings, right? And just be little robots. We have to be vulnerable, and we have to show, our children that we are, and that we do make mistakes, and that we can apologize and say sorry because I messed up. And that we can tell our significant other that we messed up. We don't always have to just be so defensive, because we get so defensive so easily, right? We can be open. Maybe we can learn from that person. Maybe we can learn from the kid. Maybe we can learn from, someone that maybe living on the street. They have wisdom that you might not have. So if you're not open, you're not going to grow. You're going to miss out. Does it make sense what I'm sharing? Okay. Does it make sense? I hope so, because that's what I want to challenge you to do. Be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is healthy. And if you are vulnerable, it will help you to be open to new possibilities, to trust and be intimate in your relationships, and allow you to have empathy and understanding for others. You have greatness inside of you. I believe in you. Yes, let's go. Be healthy and whole. It is what? Progress, not perfection. I'm talking to myself too. But me coming out here trying to talk to you and share with you, I'm being vulnerable right now. Okay. All right. Oh, I believe in you. You do have greatness inside of you. Peace.